light, I'm worried, is going to, it has quite a big shadow in the back. I'm wondering if that is going to be distracting or something.
It actually from the camera here looks quite good. The one thing I'm a little worried about is the picture, because the picture did not show 4. There you go.
Yeah, I realized that too, which is why I brought it down right away.
You look exactly the same.
That's what I was trying to go. I didn't have a video, the copy of the video that you did, but that.
Yeah, you know, and it seems like we have a little bit better connection in terms of. I'm going to try. What I'm trying to do here is I'm going to try to get the recording to be just you. Is that Diego there? Is that who I see you're looking at with such a great smile on your face?
Yeah. I'm trying to fix the equipment, the camera, the audio, the microphone.
Yeah.
So you're the crew today.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yes.
The tech guy.
Are you providing her with craft services?
Yeah. You want to give me a drink?
Do you want to drink?
Yeah. Some water.
Okay.
He's not gonna like me so much.
With ice. With water with ice. And what else?
Okay. Do you think it's good this? Because we are also filming with a good camera. You think it's good this frame?
I think it's. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Because I see there's a shadow behind the.
I was just asking her that.
It looks good. Look at your little square that you have on your Skype, because that's actually what I'm seeing, and that looks quite good. It gives it a little texture actually, so you look less like you are being interrogated.
Yay!
Yes, pretty much looks like an FBI interrogation of some kind.
Yeah. Hey, listen. Anything that you want to do. I mean, it's really important that we have. It doesn't really show that much here, to be quite honest with you. But if there's adjustments that you think that you can make, that you want to, go right ahead.
I think we've made all of it that we can. I'm just wondering the difference of the light. I only have the light again just to recreate, but I just want to. Can we unplug just for a moment? I want to see. It's over here. The plug on the.
What?
The light. I just want to see the difference. Also, because we're. Yeah. So that's the difference.
I'm sorry. Turn it on again.
On again.
I like it actually better off, Jessica.
I do too!
Are you sure?
I'm just worried about if the sun sets more or gets darker, we might end up having a dark picture. But you can watch for that and tell me, and then I can plug it in right away.
Let's try with the sun.
Natural light? But it's actually nice right now. We don't have. It's not too dark right now for us.
What about this?
The sun creates a glare. No, because you can see, Diego, it creates a glare.
All right, what I'm working on right now is I'm working on trying to get my screen, the recording of my screen correct. So, because that was something I totally screwed up last time. Let's see here. Okay, so now.
Yeah, close it all the way, Diego. Just worried I look like a boob creature.
A boob creature?
Like Brazilla. So, what do you think? Well,
curious. Okay, so that is actually working. Okay, so I'm going to try this one more time. In terms of the current call, that's here. Okay, where we are. This is what this is. Oh my God, this is where I really think that I am getting old, is that when I remember with my teachers and stuff, when I started to have to show them how to use technology, and now people are having to show me how to use technology, it's not good.
Yeah, and it's just constantly changing though. It's difficult to keep up with it, or even just the differences of the PC and the Mac. It can drive you crazy if you've been using only one, and then you switch, and then you're like, I hate this thing.
So true, so true. Okay, so I think I almost where did QuickTime go? QuickTime has this amazing ability to disappear on me.
Probably because you've touched other windows. So if you touch Skype and stuff like that.
Yes, you're right. You're absolutely correct. Okay, where did QuickTime? There it is. Okay.
The computer is to only like whatever you're focusing on. Always come so if you touch something else, it will go behind the other window.
Right. On the computer, can you give yourself just a little more headroom? You're giving yourself a little bit of a haircut.
Oh, yeah.
Not just a tiny. There you go. Because I want to see that beautiful head. Okay, let's see here. Okay, there's Guy. There. there's QuickTime. That's good. Okay, so now if I do this.
You're filming yourself video for the documentary too? Is it both our videos that you're?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So that one we'll be. How did that happen? So I see. So absolutely, I'll be able to cut it back and forth. You know, like we're having it, so we can cut it so that we can get just the sound that we want, and I can take take your sentences and like, so for example, if you stumble over something, we can cut to a reaction of me. I can cut out the stumble. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah. That's
you know, Emily would know exactly. Is Emily right? Your editor? No, who's the woman that I met?
Close. You got the E. The beginning is an E. Elizabeth.
Elizabeth. Okay. Okay. So now that if I just take here and go like this.
So did you start to edit already some of the interview we did?
What we did was we did what's called we did what's called a cut down.
Mm-hmm.
So basically what that means is that we took out all of the times that the internet cut out. We took out, and then we took out all the stuff where, I so much of the time I was interrupting you and being like, oh, and remember this and remember that, and it was just sort of like, damn it, Sandra, shut your mouth.
I didn't even notice.
Well, and that's the thing. I didn't even notice either.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that, real time and film time are two completely different things.
It's true.
So, yeah. Okay, you ready?
Yeah. Just wait, I want the door closed. By the way, he's getting his water and ice. I'll actually want to wait till that comes because then there won't be an interruption or something in between or a distraction. And
here's the question to think about, Jessica, because the first question I'm going to ask you, because I think it's really important that we sort of establish, here's what we're going to do with the film, is we're going to sort of lead you on a mystery, because not you, but the audience on this little mystery of there's some ways that you could look at what happened with Dwayne in the very beginning when he came to Canada as just this desperately lonely man who met somebody on the internet.
That's how I saw it at first. I didn't think much of it.
Don't tell me until we get there, because I want the good stuff.
Thanks, Steve. Can you close the door? Thank you.
Is he gonna stay?
No, I'd rather him not stay because then I get nervous or thinking, you start to think about what they're thinking or do they think I said it right or are they suggesting, I just think it could potentially be distracting, so I don't want to risk it.
You're smart.
Maybe.
Oh, there you are. So let's start with how, I guess what I'm looking for is without sort of the whole Project Camelot thing. I know that's how that got into you being the presence online, but I sort of want to start later, is that you had established this website that people were coming to, right?
Yeah, people actually even made it for me. I didn't even know how to make a website, so...
Okay, so I want you to tell me about the genesis of the website.
Okay, so because I made my first video, my message to humanity, before the Project Camelot interview, that is what actually got some interest of people who wanted to put up a web. They offered me, or they said, have you considered a website? And I said, yeah, I have, but I have no idea how to make one. And so they said, yeah, well, we figured you'd say that, so why don't I just make one for you? So it was done just like that, and then the same with a donation button as well. I wasn't interested in it, people kept asking about it, and then finally I relented to allowing that.
Tell me how you decided about what content to put on the site.
Well, first of all, because I was so burning with passion to share things for humanity that I really thought was beneficial and would help and was interesting and sort of bordered along the lines of science fiction and motivational, or just fantasy but actually reality, because I really lived by the idea that truth is stranger than fiction, and I was always looking for things to confirm that to other people, and then always motivation mixed with innocence. with nature and things like that. So also a lot of my poems as well, I was the basis of a lot of the videos and style and theme to the website and imagery.
And how long after you established this website did people want to start having the Skype consultations with you? And try to incorporate that into the answer. People started.
I'm just trying to think. Let's see here. So, how long into having the website? Let's see. I had the website up maybe a couple weeks. Actually, when the offer started to come in, will you do consultations with me? Can we talk with you? Can I get some of your advice? Again, I was really naive. I had no idea what I was doing. I wasn't business savvy. It was mostly people were suggesting this and like guiding me and showing me or suggesting, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I can do that, sure. If you think that'll help, okay. You know, kind of like that. And so that's how it happened. I just went by their suggestion, I set it up, and suddenly I had people, actually not that many, and then but enough. I mean, I don't know, let's see. It's really funny how it happened so quickly. But of course it was a lot more after Project Hamlet. What I'm trying to figure out is if it happened, if I set it up after the Project Hamlet interview or before. I'm pretty sure after. I think I was doing it for free before. Gladly, and yeah, I hope that, I'm sorry, I'm trying to be concise, but I'm also like not trying to run on too, so, and I know that you wanted incomplete sentences to give you a picture, so.
Yeah, what we can do is we can figure it out, and then you can go back and say it. That's not a big deal at all. So somebody would call you up and say, I want a consultation. Like, what are some of the things they'd ask you and talk to you about?
Oh, mainly because I would speak about connection with our guides, mission, purpose. So mostly it was things like that. What is my mission? They want to talk about how to connect with their guides, who they are. Let's see, what else? A lot of times they wanted to share their own like bizarre experiences that they couldn't really talk about with other people, and they just really wanted to feel like they weren't alone with it, and that they're not losing their mind. So that was a big part of it as well. Sometimes it was for healing. Some person was struggling with an illness or some chronic pain. And I don't know how to describe this, but I had this, I guess it's placebo. I was able to just say, okay, I'm sending you healing energy right now. And if it's your neck that's hurting you, I'm sending it to your neck right now. How does it feel now? Oh, it's feeling a lot better. And it can also like not come back as well. So it was just, I pretty much think because they believed so much in me that I had these abilities or something, or that I could fix it, that it just magically went away, and then they're singing your praises, and then they're upping, okay, my father has cancer, can you help that? My kid has a terminal illness. It started to become more and more bigger things that people were asking, jobs, how to be able to do what they really want to do if they're struggling in a job they don't like, how they'll be able to pay their bills, how they'll be able to travel, how can I do what you're doing, things like that.
So when you were sending them the healing thoughts or the vibrations, you truly believed that you were doing this, right?
Yeah, I truly believed I could do it, mostly because people were constantly confirming to me that I could do it. I mean, if you hear that somebody's in pain and you're like, oh, let me just try something that I've been told tends to work, and then you just say, okay, like I gave you the example of neck pain, for example, and you have people constantly saying, oh, that really worked very well, you've helped me, I haven't had that pain since. You start to really convince yourself. So that's how it happened, in that way that I started to believe. And then also, again, your beliefs create reality. So if you can do it, if you believe you can, then you can. If you believe you can't, then you can't. Very much like that.
To this day, do you believe that you were telepathic?
No. No. I think when you're, okay, I don't believe, to this day I do not believe I'm telepathic. I think at that time, people are reaching out to you and they're expecting a certain kind of information, and you can almost sense it. You can feel what they want to hear. And when you say it, oh, is there a glitch?
You know what? It just says cannot capture, so I just want to go and see what has been happening here with. Please don't tell me we did not get that.
No, but I'm recording too on my end. I have a video camera set up, but I just don't have video view. That's the only thing.
Right. I just want to see. Yeah, that's great, and that's gonna be wonderful. I wonder why this didn't capture. Maybe only, again, I don't know Skype that well. Maybe it only captures a certain amount of time.
Oh.
Screen recording, is it recording or not? Okay, let me go back to this. Sorry, Jessica.
No, it's fine. I know the drill.
I don't want to call you back up and be like, oh, we need to do it again.
Yeah, if we need to, then we need to.
You're being lovely about it. Okay, let's see.
But I believe in your project, and you're also interested in my story, and I see us doing things in the future together. So I mean, if I can assist, I can. That's how I've always been. So.
One of the things that has been really strange for me about doing this project is that ultimately is that people that I never imagined that I would meet in it. I mean, even somebody who was my huge adversary, who I thought was taking terrible advantage of my brother. I really have a great deal of affection for her now because, it wasn't that way. She was also a victim and a product of Dwayne's illness, which, I just, in a million years, could not have thought that it was going to go that way.
Well, he did try to brainwash us, like me and others, I'm sure, about you. I did get several emails saying that you were evil, you're working with the devil to stop him.
I want you to talk to me about that.
Sure.
I do need that. But that wasn't early on, right? That was after I told him. I think that was after I told him that you were not the right person for him.
Is that when that happened? Oh, I'm not surprised if that's the trigger.
Yeah.
Anyone who tells him otherwise, but that's so typical with cognitive dissonance and conformatory biases.
You know what I'm going to do is, it says it won't screen record. So you know what I'm going to try to do is.
It won't screen record. Is that because why? Can you see if you have to open up another one? That's probably why. So if you're using QuickTime and you're probably on a Mac,
yes.
Check to see where the other one is. Is it because sometimes what they won't let you do is re-record because they want you to open up a fresh file. So just go to QuickTime again and hit.
I'm quitting QuickTime right now, and then I'm gonna try to reopen it.
Right, but make sure you have the other file of the last one.
Okay, it said it was gonna go into documents.
So make sure it's there first before you quit. QuickTime. It's quite the
Untitled movie. Okay, let's see if this is my Untitled movie that's 4 minutes long. Okay, so I do have you for a bit here for 4 minutes. Okay, so that's it in the beginning. Okay.
Also, if you don't have enough room on your computer, if you have too many files, sometimes it will just say, I don't have enough memory or space to have.
All right, and I can record it to a different drive, can't I? I mean.
Yes, you can, but you have to then transfer it right away. So move the video file into the other drive right away, just in case. Or you can hook up or plug in a hard drive while you're recording.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Is to have it go to the hard drive. Okay, wait a minute. Let me see.
You're on a Mac? Are you on a Mac? You can also use, what's it called? The photo booth or something, and you can do screen recording from there too. If you're just wanting to record, I think you can, it mostly records you, but I don't know if it does dual.
I don't care. I just want to record you. Because I have enough reaction reaction shots of me from the last time we talked.
Right, okay, let me think what you can do then. What about setting up a video camera to the computer? If you don't get a glare, you have to avoid the glare, but sometimes it can turn out pretty well. I've seen it show up in many documentaries and things like that.
That's a great idea. Will you, you want me to, do you want to stay where you are and just have, and while I do that, or do you want me to call you in 10 minutes?
No, I can stay, it's fine.
Okay, we can continue to talk then.
Yeah.
Okay, good, because I think I'm going to have to do it that way. This is driving me nuts.
Because
I certainly have enough equipment, God knows.
You also had a lot of people that you tried to talk to about Dwayne who refused to talk to you, who wanted like nothing to do with you, as if you are him.
Oh, I know.
So
I know. I mean, well, you know, one of the people that I'm really having a tough time getting in touch with, Jessica, is I don't know if you know this or not, but Dwayne is married to an 80-year-old.
You told me that. That's so bizarre.
Crazy, right?
Is she alive still?
Yeah, and I got in touch with her brother, who was like, I think 82, and her basic attitude is it was a mistake. That woman just wants money from me, and you know, and I've written her letters, and I said, look, I don't want anything from you other than information. You're the one clue to what it was like, you know?
Well, I think it's probably the same thing as like you thought of it with this adversary there. People can get brainwashed about other people. And most likely she probably believes what he told her. And so, I mean, he really tried to really discourage us about you. I think at one point I even blocked you, not because I believed what he said, but I just didn't want any more to do with him and you and all of this, and I was like, by talking to her, is it pulling me back into him, and how do I move on? So that's why I made that decision. But I can see, like, if a person hangs around someone after a while and hears their plight, eventually they just give in and think it's true after a while, over and over the same thing.
Jessica, if I had been you, I would have blocked me too.
I was trying to remember why I did it, because I'm sure I did. I checked and I'm like, were we on Facebook at one time? But why? Why, if you were me, would have blocked you too? Did you think your approach wasn't right, or the information?
No. I just, you know what? I would have wanted to get as far away from anybody who had any contact with Dwayne as possible.
Yeah.
No, I mean, and that's what, you know what, and also too, I think, you know, I think that it's been very interesting to sort of see your process, but I do think that to a certain degree, you know, you weren't sure that I didn't blame you.
Yeah, no, I don't think you ever did blame me. Even when the first time you called, you've been nothing but cordial and nice. Maybe I was worried you were really religious at one point, like Dwayne was, which then I thought, okay, I don't know how to communicate. I really struggle communicating with religious people, because, you know, sooner or later it's, and have you accepted Jesus? You know, or that's one of his other manipulations he always used with me, that this was God's plan for us to be together.
Yeah, I find that hilarious, just because, what I find so funny about that is that's why he called me the devil, was because, you know, I'm not religious.
Yeah, but at that time I didn't know that about you. I just thought because he was, maybe you were. It's usually, you know, family stuff. Religion is big in families.
Well, 9 yards, of
but
course.
It's all, a lot of it's interesting though how much we base our decisions on assumptions without really investigating or finding out.
I know, but you know, I mean, that's, you know, and that's it too. It's that. I mean, one of the things I was working yesterday, I go once a week. I have an editor who's working full time.
Yeah, we heard that. That's a lot of editing for this project. A lot.
Yeah, she's working full. So, but what's interesting is, so we're working on, you know, we were sort of dividing it up into acts yesterday, and what was kind of funny was that you know, what we want is that, because I know a lot of the pushback that I'm getting from a people, in terms of investigating this, they're like, well, how could you not know? How could you not see that, Dwayne was batshit crazy? I mean, how could you miss those signs? And part of it is that, we all buy into our own publicity, We presented as a family that was very creative, that had, everybody had their own quirks, but where do you cross the line between creativity, and that's a huge part of the movie, where do you cross the line between creativity and crazy? Where do you cross the line between a lonely man who sees this beautiful girl on the internet, wants to get to know her, wants to help her, has all of the best intentions? I mean, where does the line go between that kind of kindness towards humanity and obsession?
Even genius and madness too. I saw a video of a guy who was really, really crazy, and he was crying about like people saying that he's crazy, and he's like, but I'm supposed to be because I'm a genius. That goes, hand in hand. If you have to lose your mind in order to become a genius, and it was like, but is there not a fine line? Like, because we see so many movies and stories about it. A Beautiful Mind was also about that, the fine line between the genius and losing his mind, and how you cope with that. So yeah, I really hope you talk about this in your documentary, about also why you weren't able to see it, how it took you so long to see what was going on, because I think that's crucial for other family members, that they're probably having some sort of biases as well about family, or ideologies about creativity or genius, or that's just how they are, or there's nothing serious about it, like a bit of denial as well.
I mean, for me, part too, was, I left home when I was 18. I came to the West Coast, or East Coast. I started my own life, and everything that I was hearing was either from was what Dwayne was feeding me, or what my parents were feeding me about what was going on.
Yeah, so there's a whole lot in between that you would miss or not be able to see, because
Right.
then that's also biases. One side or the other. That's what I like so much about filming, is like they don't just show one side. They always show all these different sequences of characters. So one character is doing this and they're saying that, but then they're in another room doing the complete opposite of what they're saying. So you get such a bigger picture when it comes to that style.
Anything else would be propaganda,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the definition of propaganda.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. I'm almost there. I just have to think this up. Where are you guys? Did you get some? You call it a dossier, right?
Yeah.
You called it a dossier. Did you guys get that written yet?
Yes, actually, I was going to send it to you. I don't know, like, it's different from what you've heard before of when it comes to documentaries, because you're mostly used to stories, and this is more of an investigation. And it's also European, so it will be very, very different from what you've seen or read before. But I still wanted you to see it. I just wanted to kind of prepare you for how different it is.
I will keep that in mind.
Because I know you teach it, I know you critique it, I know you can tear it apart, I know all those things, which is sometimes really good to have criticism as well, of course.
I'll tell you what was so interesting about yesterday with working with my editor, because we were we're putting what do you call it? We're putting little 3x5 cards of themes and scenes, up on this big board, and when her being on the outside, being like, okay, now this needs to go over here, and this can represent this, and she's like doing this, and I'm sort of like, whoa, wait a minute, that's not what really happened. And she's like, no, but that's the way to keep the story interesting, and to tell, it's not that you sort of change the way in which information is revealed, right? Mm-hmm. And I couldn't get my head around it, and I came home and I was exhausted, and I just thought, okay, this is what my students go through. It looks so clear to me, because I have the distance from it. Mm. And it was such a good lesson for me in terms of having so much more patience, for them. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see. I'm actually going to put it right here so I can sort of get you looking directly.
Okay, and is it okay as far as like, is there a glare or anything in the way?
No, it looks quite good actually.
Okay.
Let's see. I think I just need to balance it.
Were you able to pitch this yet to the Sundance, was it? You said you wanted to, that's why you were the one to do it.
Okay. Yeah, it was the Brooklyn Film Exchange, and that went extraordinarily well. I mean, the people at the public television station kept saying, "Oh, you've got gold, you've got gold, you've got gold."
So you were able to even use some of my interview for that, okay? Because, I mean, you only needed a tiny bit anyway, so, I mean,
You know what I needed to show them basically was that you were on board.
Okay.
That's what I needed to show them.
Okay, so they were really impressed with your idea. What about also, was really curious about how it is for you so far challenging the mental wellness, let's say, business in the U.S. Like, I must imagine you're probably getting a lot of opposition and feeling over your head in some ways with taking on a project like this.
I mean, I'm completely overwhelmed. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm overwhelmed by having to expose my family in this way. I'm overwhelmed by not appearing, you know, that I've made mistakes that look like, oh, I'm just trying to take over my brother's life. That people are misreading my intentions. And then you have, yeah, I mean, one of the things I recently found out that is in one of the court hearings I got from my brother is that the police that I was helping give information about my brother called protective services on me, thinking that I was exploiting my brother.
How did that happen?
It's just, you know what, everybody has their own interpretations of how things go.
Huh.
I mean, it was...
Sure do.
It was brutal. It was brutal. Okay, now I feel better. So now I feel like I know they're going to get something here that I like. Let's in a sense start over again in that, how did you become an online presence?
Okay, I became an online presence when I basically realized whenever I speak, everybody seems to listen. If I go on the bus and I just start talking to one person, suddenly everybody on the bus is listening. I was at the airport one time and I was waiting for my plane and I just started speaking to a person next to me, and then I noticed like a bunch of people were gathered around. So I just thought, well, I have so much to share and I just want to put it out there like a message in a bottle, sort of virtually. And I thought, okay, why don't I just make a video about it, and then I can feel better, because sometimes you feel very restless inside when you have a message, you want to say it, but you don't really have a platform. You just want to get it off your chest so you feel better. So that's what I did. I made this video, and from then on I had people contacting me pretty much right away, almost overnight, in which people asked me if I had a website. I said, no, I don't even know how to make a website. And actually, I don't think I can even afford it. And it was nothing, a website, I don't know. Maybe at that time it might have been a bit more. But the people said, oh, well, I figured you'd say something like that, so can we make the website for you? Well, we don't mind paying for it as well. We just really believe in you and what you're doing. We feel you're onto something. And then shortly after, when I started to get even more exposure via the Project Camel interview, people were asking me, well, can you do sessions? Can we give you donations? Can we have consultations with you? And things like that started to come about as well. It really escalated very quickly. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I was very naive at the time. And I just kind of went with it because nothing else was really working for me at that time. This seemed to be like confirmation that I was on the right path. Did you want me to talk about the calls?
Yeah.
Like what I did in the sessions?
Yeah, people would call you up, and what would they want from you when they would call you up?
So people would want all sorts of things. They would want motivation, upliftment. If they were feeling really depressed, they'd want to know about their purpose, their mission, connecting with their guides. Who are they? How do I reach them? How does that work? They wanted miracles. They wanted to have healings for maybe chronic pain or serious things like diseases with them, or even other people that they knew. All sorts of things. I can't remember now. What else did I say that I didn't remember?
just kind of, well, this will go right into it. Is that and that's good. That's terrific.
Okay.
What made you feel like you were qualified to give them advice about anything?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Well, okay, so what made me feel I was qualified to give advice about anything really was the constant, my father constantly encouraging me and saying, this is my mission, this is my purpose, and again, having people always listening to me wherever I went, really feeling like they benefited, always saying they healed or their life went better after listening to me. So it was just like, because it was the spiritual movement, people were saying, oh, because you're a crystal child, you're an indigo child, you're born special to do this work, so it's already in you to do this. And also, again, confirmation from other people. They really believed I could do it, and the more your thoughts create reality, that's how I believed. So the more I believed it, the more all I got was confirmation of that as well. People were constantly just saying, oh, you've helped me so much. So after a while, you start to think, well, I really must have something here. And yeah.
And why did you what was your need to feel that, to feel like you were helping, that you were doing good with this?
What is my need that I felt I was doing good and helping?
But I guess I'll just tell you what I'm looking for. Is that what I'm looking for is how you talked about. I mean, I think that you feel as much a victim of the spirituality, the New Age stuff, as Dwayne was. Being attracted to it, but on a very different level.
Mm-hmm.
Him as the seeker, you as sort of the teacher, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what was it? What was the thing in you that made you say like, this is the answer for me, that I can go out and help people? What were you lacking that you feel that you thought the spirituality could fulfill?
Well, mostly I had resistance to spirituality, but where I felt I was lacking that spirituality could fulfill was confidence.
Sorry, say it again. You cut out right on that word.
Where I was lacking, where I thought spirituality could fulfill, was confidence, was I felt that the way life was at the time was so limiting and restricting. We're always stuck in these systems, and we're told we can't do this, and we're always told that we're no good or less than. And what I loved so much about spirituality was you could be, anything. You could be larger than life. It was very much along the lines with the movie The Matrix. The Matrix was very big for the spiritual movement because they really thought we actually are living in a matrix. And so if you realize that, then you could become like Neo and be able to do anything. And so that was very appealing for me, and also because I had fulfillment in that. I had something that was working for me. I wasn't very good at jobs, 9-to-5 jobs. I had to be very creative, working on like cruise ships and in the film industry and stuff like that. I've always wanted to help, and I liked the idea of just finding some way to help in whatever way I could. I didn't have an education, but I thought life could be an education. I thought, we can be an inspiration to each other. And spirituality encouraged all of that. You're just, if you're born as a star seed or a crystal child or an indigo, then you can do this. So that's kind of what it gave to me.
What were the specific things that made you feel that you were a star seed, that you were an indigo, that you were a crystal child? Are there things that you're like, oh yeah, well I was born during this period of time, number one? Or do you remember any of that? What made you be like, oh yes, I am this?
Well, the reasons I thought I was a crystal child, star child, or whatever was, yes, there's articles and documents that say if you're born at this time, or certain souls were coming to the planet at this time to do this sort of work, and they are usually along the lines of the indigo, crystal, starseed category. But I had my father, who passed away, constantly confirming, trying to tell me I am this, I am that, even though I denied it for a while. I had other people even tell me that I didn't even know, because they were reading the same kind of content, but I just thought, oh, maybe they're connected to Source or to their guides, and they're trying to give me this message to push me in this direction. To the point that I was given all sorts of information, videos and books and things like that, and I kind of looked at it with a grain of salt, but it's amazing how these things can stick unconsciously. Maybe you have dreams about it, or a strong daydream, or a strong premonition, or a feeling that starts to make you have some sort of confirmation that such things are possible, or that you are actually this. To the point you can convince yourself, you have a very strong daydream or a sensation, and it's so real, it feels so real that you think it actually is. And there is actually scientific tests of like fake memories, false memories that people are so sure that they had that have been proven to not be real at all, or distortion of memories. Experiences where, there's things like you're supposed to see lights around people, their auras and chakras, and it's really strange. Like, again, with spirituality, they have workshops where they tell you if you want to see your guides, or if you want to open your third eye to see the other realms or auras and chakras, you just imagine you can. And when you imagine you can, you suddenly are able to. Of course you can, because you convince yourself, and then you're just like, I did it. So they just try to get you to be as specific as possible with the detail, where there's that fine line of imagining, and there's people who are never able to imagine because they're always doubting it and thinking, I can't do it, it's not working, they have an idea about how it should be, versus people who are totally able to do it themselves right away and go, yeah, I did it. And then that other person feels like they're somehow lacking or not considered by the guides to be able to have these abilities activated like others. So they think they need more workshops or whatever. I think I strayed off, sorry.
No, but yes, it's a vicious cycle. I've been watching the television series The Americans, where they talk about these Russians who were embedded, and one of the Russians is starting to go to Est. Which is a new age sort of thing from the 70s. And his wife says, look, you will never find the answer because it's not set up for you to ever find the answer. It's set up for you to take another class.
It's so true. Spirituality is a wild goose chase. And it's forever and ever and ever. It's like Scientology. You have to keep going. Actually, it's amazing how similar Scientology and spirituality is. It's extremely similar. If you watch the documentary Going Clear, Anyway, you just have to go up this ladder of constant work on this, upgrade that, change your diet, course, workshop, and it's never ending. And we actually met someone, a man who he had actually a pretty good life, he had a nice family, he had a nice job, and he decided to leave it all and go to India to find some spiritual truth or some activations. And after 25 years of doing everything and working with the best of the best gurus, he said at the end of that, he found absolutely nothing. So he realized 25 years is like a whole lifetime.
It's a fabulous business model, isn't it? Where you never run out of product.
It's $1 billion industry. So yeah. I never made that because I wasn't business savvy. Like I said, I was naive, but it can be very, very appealing to many people when we're having, problems with the economy. At that time, that's what was going on. The jobs were just not very good, so you can just do work for yourself. Just put out some videos, have a donation button, have a gimmick, have an interesting story, maybe have a certain kind of look that's appealing, and that's it. So I can see why it's appealing for people to, that's why so many people are exploiting others in this way, while others are exploiting themselves by just convincing themselves it's true.
But in your case, for example, it didn't feel like exploitation of anybody because you were a true believer as the guide, right?
That's right. I was a true believer of it, so it never felt like exploitation or anything like that. When I realized it was that, I stopped immediately. Which was hard because I was already doing it for 10 years and it was all I knew. I didn't know how to do anything else. It was extremely shocking, jarring. What I was going to say.
Did you make money off of it, Jessica, or did you just make a living?
I'm sorry, I don't know the difference. You mean just getting by? A living
Right.
is just getting by?
Were you able to break even, or were you able to make some real money off of it?
No, I broke even. And I mean, I never really spent much. I was always very low maintenance because I've been homeless twice, and I only took what I needed just to get by. And And it wasn't that much, but anything extra was I usually just gave to my mom to help with bills and stuff like that. So, but yeah, again, like I could have made a lot. I would think back now, and particularly talking with you, I kind of realize now, or just seeing what other spiritual people are doing nowadays with my old gimmicks that I didn't know were gimmicks, and it's just wow, it's mind blowing. Like someone, for example, like Teal Swan, she's really big right now, and she's just completely exploiting people and just creating these stories, and it's absolutely fascinating.
And I can see it being very appealing because, you know, it's sort of like you guys are desperate for, you know, money to sustain yourself because the economy's bad. You're using what you believe is a God-given talent in terms of being able to heal and it's spiritual. You're able to provide money for your mom. I mean, you know,
you're making the world a better place. You're healing the planet. What's bad about it is a justification. Well, for someone like Teal Swan, she's somebody who actually had money. But the thing for her was she needed attention. She needed to be the center and the most important and the most special. So everyone listened to me, you know, everyone feels sorry for me, you know. And so this is a thing, it's very appealing also for a lot of narcissists as well.
Okay, so what was your first, tell me sort of the whole progression of Dwayne, literally from the first time that you remember getting an email from him all the way up to hearing from me. Tell me as a story, sort of like first he contacted you and said, "Oh, I watched your Project Camelot," up until me saying to you, "Oh dear God, he tried to come up to Canada."
Okay, well there's actually not too much. So basically how Dwayne started coming into the picture in my life was just like everyone else, just a random email of exchange of, you know, I saw your video and I feel really connected to it, the usual kind of thing, very standard at first. I didn't think much of it, I just responded to him like I responded to everyone else. I think maybe I respond with too much endearment because I tend to use the words dear and hun when I was talking at that time. Just very, very gentle and welcoming and inviting. I like the idea of making people feel welcome where in most of the world they don't feel welcome and it's like cold and harsh. So I'd never just, there's so much people just mean for the sake of being mean, and I just really didn't want that. I wanted to make a safe place for people. And maybe he read into it in a different way. So what ended up happening when I started to realize something was a bit off is when I started to feel very, very overwhelmed with the spiritual work at the time. I just had a lot of people contacting me. I felt like people were just wanting a piece of me, and I was becoming a bit overwhelmed and a bit over my head. And we had a situation that was also maybe going to make my family homeless again. Sorry?
What was the situation? Tell me what was happening with you at the time with your family.
We just had some problems with the people that rented us a house. They started to just turn on us and create problems for us and threatening us. And I just was feeling a bit sick, and I feel like I needed to take a break. And at that time, there was my ex-boyfriend came into my life, which is Gus, just his first name, right? You wrote not the last name. And he, like, I know I wasn't really comfortable with him from the beginning, but I don't know, I thought that I could change him or make him more of a better person, that was part of my mission. And so we also really needed a guy to help us with our situation, because if we had to find another place, which seemed to be the situation, in Canada, most of the people who own places are East Indian, and they only talk to you if, you know, they won't talk to a single female. So there has to be a male. So we actually decided to pretend to be boyfriend and girlfriend. I decided to take a break from spirituality and try out having a relationship. Because we were also on house arrest too, so we needed to kind of have like someone looking out for us 24/7. This is totally long backstory. I'm trying not to go too much into detail, but you kind of. And then we had the big storm as well, so we were in a bit of peril, a desperate sort of a situation.
Okay, so let's go back. So now you just said pretending
yes.
to be.
At first, it pretend.
Okay, so why don't we start with there? You know, because of your situation. Why don't you start by just sort of saying, like, because of your situation, you met this guy Gus, you guys pretended to be involved, but then it developed into something, and then the story happens, okay?
Correct, yes. And so when I first met him, how it came about was when I met my ex-boyfriend. We actually first pretended to be boyfriend and girlfriend in order to find a place for my family. And then because we were kind of on house arrest and he offered to stay with us during that time and look out for my family, I thought, and then I was taking a break from my spirituality because I was feeling like I don't have a normal life. I've not really had a real relationship or anything like that, so I decided to give it, since you're here, so let's just give it a go. Let's just have a relationship. And then it just happened very fast. I just thought, even though I knew he wasn't a very good person, I thought, oh, my light, my love will change him, because that's also part of my mission, is to demonstrate that people can change through this power, which is very similar to Christianity. Oh, the power of Christ will change you. But so I started to write about this and make announcements about this, and I believe I was doing a session with Dwayne, or a consultation. We were talking, and I think it was at the end of the conversation. I think I was about to say goodbye, or I just did, but he was still, we were just chit-chatting, and then Gus came in, and he started talking, and Dwayne was like, who is that? And I said, oh, that's my boyfriend, Gus. And he started to, it was very strange the way he responded to it, almost like he couldn't speak. Like he was frozen on video. It was like 5 seconds of just froze. And I'm like, are you okay? And he's like, yeah, I'm fine. And then he said, but something, I don't know how it came up, but I mentioned his birthday. I can't remember if he asked or how it came up, but I said his birthday. And I said, and he again became speechless and weird and jarred, and then I think the conversation ended. I'm sorry, it's hard to remember exactly what happened at the time. I just remember he suddenly, it was like a switch was flipped, and I didn't know what was going on at the time. And then I started to get letters afterwards that he started to say that his birthday was also, the same as a boyfriend that I'm with right now, and that we are actually soulmates, me and Dwayne, and it just started to become very progressive and very much constantly trying to hammer it into me that you're with the wrong person.
Let's back up a little bit.
Right.
So when he called you for that consultation, do you remember anything of what he was asking before it turned weird? Do you remember anything about that?
I don't, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was probably talking about relationships or asking me about soulmates. People would also ask me how they could connect with their soulmate or their partner and stuff like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if he was alluding to that at that time.
Go ahead and say that, Jessica. I mean, would you feel comfortable saying, I'm sure that we talked about, okay. I don't remember exactly, but I'm sure we talked about soulmates and twin flames and all of that, so we make that connection of why he thought it was you.
Okay, during the session or consultation, I think what we were talking about, I don't remember exactly, but I'm quite sure it has to do with relationships and soulmates and how to find the partner. And things like that. But he also wanted to talk about personal things as well, I remember. And he was quite concerned about the situation I was in as well as I was writing about it. So I'm sure he had this idea that he had to come and save me, that it would be him that would come to save me. And he was quite upset that I was with Gus, my ex-boyfriend, and he felt that there was some sort of glitch in the matrix, something wrong happened because I'm with the wrong person. I'm supposed to be with him because everything else is similar. The birthday, I don't know what else he thought was similar, but he tried to make it seem that way, that I made a mistake somehow. because I was talking about needing help with our situation, and I think he was planning on coming. He just maybe was a little too late before someone else came, and I think this really threw him.
Did you know that he was actually planning to come to Canada?
I did not know that Dwayne was planning on coming to Canada. I was very surprised to hear from you telling me that he actually attempted to go to Canada, that he actually got stuck at the border, that they realized that there were holes in his story, that he was saying some strange things, and that they didn't let him cross. I was very glad to hear that he didn't make it to Canada, of course, but I wasn't worried, I wasn't scared or anything like that, because if he really had this affection for me like he constantly claimed, then I didn't think he would harm me. I think he just somehow had this idea if we met that I would somehow realize we were meant to be together, even though he really never cared about whatever I really thought, or if I disagreed with him. I will understand later. Even the age difference, I think it's over 20 years. And I just felt like he wasn't considering me at all. He was just kind of pushing his ideals onto me, and it was very frustrating to me because I tried to communicate with him at first. I tried to kind of talk some sense into him and tried to get him to look at it realistically, and he just always refused, and it just kept escalating more and more strongly. I think outside confirmation and strong authority like Jesus, God has put us together and he wants this as well. The universe wants it. I'm talking to your guides now. Any kind of pull he could to get my somehow consensus into all of this. But I became more and more frustrated that he really wasn't listening, and that it was like talking to a wall. There was nothing I could say to get through to him. So I started to become a bit harsh, which as you know, was not that harsh. Even when you asked me to do a voice chat with him on the phone, to tell him what I feel about him and the situation, he felt it could have been firmer. But at that time, again, the beliefs make you're a good, nice person, and love fixes everything. So, we have our boundaries in that way. So, I don't know, I also felt like he was going through a lot of pain. I didn't want to hurt him. I just kind of wanted him to, hey, get the point. So wake up and smell the coffee kind of thing.
Let's go back to, so you had said this in your other, the other interview that we did, about when he first appeared in that consultation before he sort of wigged out. What was your impression of him?
I didn't really have much. It was just like all the other people, when you're working with so many different people, you just kind of get used to a sort of a standard, a routine. There was nothing that stood out that I remember, because I was also taken aback by suddenly this weirdness, because he was just an acquaintance, a client, and also a friend I considered as well, because he wanted to know what I was going through. He seemed some genuine concern. So there was nothing until after the call I started to put two and two together, and then the emails, because I suspected he was acting strange because I mentioned my boyfriend. That's my boyfriend, and that his name is Gus, and then something about the birthday, and that it's his birthday as well.
In your last interview, I was because you're not the first person to say this. Is that when you first saw him and you guys were talking on the internet, that he sort of struck you as kind of this nerdy, leave it to Beaver, clean cut sort of guy.
Yes. Yes, he was. When he first contacted me, he was very much like a kind of a nerd, a very simple, old-fashioned kind of practical guy. Harmless and completely normal, completely average. So even sort of funny because he was so stereotypically nerd.
So when you guys tell me a little bit about that when did you realize that it had gone from, when did he actually first tell you that he loved you? Do you remember that? Because at first he first found out about and then he said maybe it's not Gus, your Gus, right? That it's actually him. And then it really ramped up to you're getting married, right?
Yeah, it happened very.
But he never said, and this is what we have to get you saying, is that you had no idea that he was planning to come to Canada to marry you. He never said that.
No, of course not. He just said that I wish I could help. You know, maybe your guides or my guides can provide some way to help. But at that time, he was already a bit strange because of I told him about my ex-boyfriend. And so I didn't really respond that much or engage him too much. So I had no idea that he was planning on coming to Canada to marry me. When he first said I love you, I really think it was probably right after the interview, the consultation. I think he wrote me a large email afterwards with like professing his love and stuff like that. But there was nothing, a mention of marriage or anything like that. But I guess when you have the idea of soulmates meant to be, it's sort of implied that we absolutely must get married. So again, people interpret things in so many different ways, like we were talking about earlier.
Jessica, do you have any of those emails that he wrote you?
You know, I was just looking for them and I can't seem to find them. I think I deleted them all because I was so upset. I can maybe check my old hard drives. I'll check my old email box. I was actually wondering, because actually Diego brought this up, that if you had any emails that he sent to me, that maybe if you wanted me to read some of them for your video, I could do that as well. But I don't know if you have any copies of the emails.
Well, what I do, a couple of emails that you wrote to Dwayne, actually, the day that the day before the evening that he went up to Canada, where you were basically saying, do not contact me. I tried to be very clear with you. I don't want your help. And so I do have those emails because he kept those, and I have those.
Okay.
I think it would be really weird to have you reading emails that Dwayne wrote to you. I would rather have Dwayne read those emails, or somebody portraying Dwayne to read those emails. It would just be a little bit. It would almost make it be like you were buying into it. So I would only want you to have your own voice.
Sure, I hear what you're saying. I was just thinking about the emails really early on, or before he came up to Canada, what the conversations were at that time. I'm pretty sure it was that, but I'm just wondering more about what was going on at that time, because it's kind of challenging and frustrating to talk about this and not remember, because so many things were going on at that time, and that was just one of the many annoying factors. So it was just like things that trigger my memory. And what he meant was, of course, to read from what I said, but when I deleted his emails, I also delete mine, because there's the responses, the sent as well, I'm pretty sure, go with them.
Let me talk to Anne about that, because this is a great idea. And if there is a way that we could get you to do that, and also too, it'd be great to hear your voice. But you certainly did. There was like about 6 emails that were exchanged between the two of you. If you're like, stop, enough, don't come. Then he comes up. Then I contact you, right? So at that point.
But wait, does that mean I did know he was coming to Canada and I was telling him stop, don't?
No, you were like, I don't want your help.
Okay, good, okay.
There's no way I'm coming to live in Portland with you. Have my family come, because
yes, he wanted me to come and live in Portland with my family, that's right.
And why?
Because of the situation I told you about, where we were about to become homeless again. It was 2010, around the time of the Canadian Olympics, and so rent skyrocketed. It was very difficult to find a place. It was winter, Christmas time, so it was just a very stressful and scary time to have that realization, to also have be this internet public figure, but at the same time know that you can still go back to all of that all over again and experience being homeless again. And for me personally, I've been there, so it's not so scary, but more just I don't want to see that happen to my family. I have this martyr complex where I think like can sacrifice myself for others if I can, I'd rather experience it than let them experience it. Okay, we went off topic again. What did you want me to?
That was quite wonderful. So then, when do you think? I mean, because I do think that it was shortly after I contacted you and you told him no. But then the letters kept coming, and then there became the So tell me about, even after you said to him, after I asked you to say to him, do not contact me anymore. The letters kept coming, and it turned quite serious for him.
I tried so hard to get him to stop contacting me. I sent so many emails consecutively, firmly, no, leave me alone, I don't want your help, because his help became so weird, and so strange. Like, I started to realize, oh, you can live with me, and I'm looking for, I remember he would send me links to vacant places to rent in Portland, Oregon, and I knew that it was very unrealistic, and I was wondering what the intentions were if we lived there as well, if I accepted his help. Of course, he'd want to be together as well, he wouldn't leave me be, so I just really didn't feel comfortable about this at all. And I think because I kept saying leave me be, actually on a side note, is why he would call me Queen Bee, where Queen Bee came from, because in the emails he constantly was referring to me as Queen Bee, and I'm like, what the heck does this mean? And so, yeah, he just made these strange offers, or I'll come up and I'll fix everything, like, and your mom can marry this older friend of mine that I have that would be perfect for her, and just the way he was proposing his help seemed to be something that really, really disturbed me. So I just kept saying, no, leave me alone, I want nothing to do with you. And I was very frustrated because no matter how many times I said it, he still persisted on with the emails that became even more intensified. Like, now he's talking about how we're destined to be together, that we've had many past lives with each other, that God wants us to be together, that, it's biblical, and all these sort of things, and I'm connecting with your guides, and this is what they want, and I'm channeling your father. My dad is dead. I'm channeling him, and he wants you to be with him and with me as well, and all these sort of like guilt tripping and like.
So, then he said, did he set the date?
He set the date maybe 3 times.
Okay, let's put 10-10-10.
10-10-10.
It's October 10th, 2010.
Yeah.
He was and I want you to tell me the story of him setting that date, and then all of his different manipulations from pleading to berating you to guilting you about the flower girl. So tell me that story. So start with the idea of he even set a date for us to be married.
So, okay, aside from that though, aside from just all this like pleading and berating, it started to also become very derogatory. This was really off-putting for me. I have zero tolerance for stuff like this. It just became very, very sexual, mixed with religion, mixed with my blogs, my poems, personal information, very, vulgar things about me and about how this is holy and that God wants this, and that he was speaking to God, and God wanted to set a marriage date for us, and he was giving a sacred date. At that time, everybody was very obsessed with like 11-11s or 10-10-10, 9-9-9. So he got this idea because it was around 2010 that 10-10-10 would be a good wedding date for us. Even though I gave no consent, I didn't agree to this at all. He just went along planning it as if it was happening. And because he knew I would refuse anyway, he thought of another strategy, and that was this email. This is one of the main ones I remember. Because most of them are so sexually disturbing and religiously heavy, it just was an absolute turn-off, like biblical quotes and all of that. I stopped reading a lot of them. I just immediately went to spam or trash. But I would sometimes read them because I was also curious and fascinated how a mind can be like this, and also because as a spiritual speaker, you're very obsessed with finding a way to get people to understand. The perfect way to explain something that will get everyone to understand. But if a person isn't ready to understand, then it doesn't matter how perfect it is, it just isn't going to work. But that's still a justification we use to continue on with our BS. But anyway, he told me about this date, and he said also that he had a flower girl for us, and he spoke with her, and he told her that he promised her that she could be the flower girl for the wedding, and he told me how it lit up her life, how she really had a hard life and there wasn't much goodness or cheer at all, and this information made her so happy, so excited to look forward to something like this. And so he said, if you don't show up, you're breaking this little girl's heart. It'll be on you for hurting her. You will have to live with yourself. And this sort of was extremely upsetting. You know, how dare you, how low to get a little girl's hopes involved, and the poor girl doesn't know the other side of the story. Why I don't show up. So he was consulting psychics and everything. I remember seeing some email exchanges he had with psychics about me and him and why we're not together and what kind of spiritual work he needs to do to bring us together. He also would go as far as to contact my friends on Facebook, making fake profiles. At first it was just various different ones of him, and then there were profiles of my ex-boyfriend Gus. Gus, he'd call himself, and he would contact them as posing as my ex-boyfriend, and to try to get their trust and to try to get some information, because I was constantly blocking him. I was just absolutely furious and livid with him for constantly harassing me in this way, and like finding how he tried to find any possible way into my life, or to manipulate or deceive my friends, or to kind of get people to give a good word for him and me. And I remember people asking me, "What's up with this guy? Is this your boyfriend?" You know, there's mixed information out there, and weird videos he would make about our life together, camping, and this green chair because I like green, and it was so strange and upsetting.
It was strange and upsetting. At any point, frightened you?
It frightened me that there was nothing I could say that would get him to understand, or to really, that all this, I care about you, you can't possibly care about a person when you're not listening to them. It also frightened me because I thought if we ever did meet, maybe, because when a person is so unstable in this way and so determined in this way, maybe if this idea if I can't have you, then no one can have you, they can suddenly turn violent. So it's just when a person is unstable, you don't know what they're going to do. You can't just think that it'll be loving because, there's a lot of accounts of, oh, I love you, that's why I tie you up and keep you in the basement and we pretend we're together. I love them, that's why I killed them. There's a fine line with that as well too, of course. So, and that's what I started to think, like, what would he do if we ever actually, or if I married someone else, it would make him crazy, but I'm not gonna just give up my life and just go live with him because he thinks we should be together at the same time. Like, it was just, yeah.
So then, after 10-10-10 came and went, all of a sudden, in the beginning of December, the middle of December, all the emails stopped coming to you. He was AWOL for about 6 months. What did you think during that time? Not knowing, but they just stopped. What did you think had happened?
I thought he finally got the message. Yes, that's it. It's done. He's moved on. He met someone else. He was writing me that he was trying, if I don't come and see him, that another girl is going to come and take my place. And oh, geez, that'll be terrible. Well, that's going to motivate me. I'm like, yes, please go with him. But then I was also concerned with these girls as well, because he was talking about mail-order brides and things like that. Sorry, see, now memories are coming out of contact, into other questions. But anyway, so yeah, I thought that this is what's going on. So he's seeing someone else now. They've made him forget all about me, but I hope they're okay. Because some people wrote me about him too, and I pretty much warned them all. I even like got upset with some of the psychics as well that were advising him about me and him, because I knew they were just probably telling him what he wanted to hear. So yeah, I also thought, because I think at times he told me that he was writing to me about terrible things, about how he got scammed by this Nigerian scam, but I was really surprised because he always tried to convince me that he was very intelligent too, because I wrote about my ex-boyfriend being quite intelligent, and he compared himself to him a lot, so I was like, but how could he fall for that? I knew he was sort of desperate for money. He was making really bad decisions in hopes that we would somehow be together. Did you want me to talk also about the part where he gets the pulling over with the cops and stuff like that with my... we don't need that. We have that from last time.
I'm blanking.
Remember that I'm a traveler, and how I wrote about that in my blog. Exactly. We have that already, though, right?
I think we have that. What I was thinking, you know what I need, and so what I need to know is what did you ultimately find out in terms of why he'd stopped for periods writing to you?
Well, before also, because he was struggling so much with making bad decisions with the Nigerian scam, which was obviously a scam. Then also, I remember he would say like that he was in trouble with the police and that they come to his house repeatedly. Because I think I did try to call the police on him a couple times as well, but I don't think it had to do with me. I think it had to do with other people. And I think he was also trying to tell me too that they were trying to commit him into a mental institution as well, that they don't realize how conscious he is, that I need to speak to them and tell them that he's a very advanced soul and he shouldn't be in there and stuff like that. So I thought if he didn't move on and find someone, then perhaps he was locked up in either in jail or because maybe harassing someone else, or in a mental institution as well. I did suspect it, but I didn't. I was just sort of curious because you have emails constantly for such a long time, and then they suddenly stop. You wonder what happened,
And then what did you find out from me?
Because they're indirectly part of your life, even though you don't want them to be part of your life. You kind of expect it when you don't have that anymore. You contacted me and you told me that he was locked up in a mental institution, I think it was, and I was sad for that, of course, but I didn't, it made sense why suddenly he stopped, because it's like, oh my gosh, he has to be locked away and away from internet in order for him not to write me.
And also it was one of those things that the minute he got out, after his first 180 days, he went right back to trying to get in contact with you.
Yeah, as if like it didn't make any difference at all. As soon as he got out, apparently you told me that he wrote me right away. That was the first thing he did, trying to get in touch with me. Sorry, I just repeated you word for word, and I know you need it from me.
There's also probably what you don't know. There's a couple of things you probably don't know.
Yeah, please inform me on your end, because...
Yeah, is that he also, when he was in jail several times, he would write you letters and send it to his house, thinking that you would be there to receive them.
Okay.
I have those letters, so nobody needs to see.
I can imagine what those letters were, probably along the lines of what I described to you.
Yes, correct.
Vulgar, very vulgar.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think a sister should ever have to read that.
Yeah, as a sister, oh my gosh.
But also too, the first time that after the 10-10-10, he actually went to the top of Multnomah Falls, which is a beautiful 900, I think it's like a 900-foot falls in Portland, or it's about 45 minutes outside of Portland. He hiked the mile and a half it takes to get to the top of the falls. He videotaped him with all of his documentation of all of his scams and everything, and he was going to throw it and him over the side of Multnomah Falls if you did not come and rescue him. And so he's up on the top of the falls screaming, Jessica, this is it, come get me. Or I'm going to wait for Sam Jessie to bring her spaceship to come and get me, which I had no idea what that means.
Yep, I know what all this means. Actually, yes, he did also, as far as guilt trips and manipulations, yes, he did threaten that he would kill himself many times if I didn't come to see him, which was very upsetting to be put in a situation like that. Particularly when you don't want to see any harm come to anyone, and you want to make it right, but if you go that it's not going to fix anything as well. And yeah, the Sam Jessie thing is, I wrote about, and something that my dad always talked to me about, is this guy that spoke to, his name was Billy Meyer. It's a story about a guy that was able to have actual Pleiadian aliens come to visit him on spaceships and beam ships, and my dad tried to make me think that I was one of them, like that I was the Sam Jessie girl that came to Billy Meyer, that we're not exactly actually her, but some sort of soul essence sharing or something bizarre like that. And I wrote about it because more and more people were talking about Pleiadians and claiming to be Pleiadians or channeling Pleiadians, and so I'm like, oh, it's more confirmation that my dad was right and onto something. And because she actually had a physical spaceship, so they say, but I think it turned out to be all a scam. It's been investigated not too long ago, or I don't know, not too long ago, maybe 10, 20 years ago, and to prove that it's all fakes. But anyway, we talked about, I wrote about beam ships, and it's mentioned about beam ships, so he really had this idea that I was like an alien, or that I was connected to them, that I could come and send the ships to him. And so he was like thinking that it was some sort of a test, that we weren't together. And so thinking that we were telepathic, I just have to, try to find the right way to get her to bring the alien ship to me, or whatever sort of a thing. I did see the videos of him at the falls talking about the Pleiadians in your trailer. But I hoped he wasn't serious about committing suicide when he said it. I just thought they were empty threats. But to hear that he was actually considering doing it, and you have that on video, because I didn't see that really shown.
And the good thing about it is that that's the very act that was able to get us to get him help for the first 180 days in the hospital. So through a bad tragic, and here's the thing, he came down, he came down off the falls. So, so the thing is that having it on video was absolute confirmation that, he can come down later and be like, I didn't really mean to do it. It's like, well, that's pretty serious to climb all the way up there, drive all the way up there, climb all the way up there, have the video, take the video of what you're going to do. It's kind of hard to believe that you were just kidding. So that was really lucky then to have that in terms of it being able to get him help. Let's talk a little bit about what.
But he didn't want the help. Too bad it didn't work. The 180 days didn't do anything, since as soon as he came out, he tried to contact me again, just as vulgar and just as messed up as before.
Well, and in some ways even more so. I mean, it has been accelerating, it's been accelerating since that time. That's the jump up.
It's true, it did get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse.
Yeah. And it got so bad that you even, after we had initially contacted, you had decided to block me. Let's talk a little bit about that. I think that's interesting.
Yeah, I just came to a point where I just wanted nothing to do with him in any way, shape, or form. And though you asked me to write him and just, not write him, sorry, call him and tell him, leave me alone, I just felt like if we were in touch, somehow he would still have some kind of connection between him and me, and I just didn't want that. So I just decided that I need a fresh start. I need to get away from everyone associated to him. So I just blocked you as well. Also, I was constantly getting emails from him about how evil you were. Not that I ever believed it, but I just.
Jessica, don't say that part of it. Just don't editorialize on that. Tell me what you heard about me.
Okay, so a lot of his emails started to talk about how terrible and evil how you were working with Satan to destroy his plans or of us to be together, that you're doing court orders against him, that you're trying to sue him, that you just want his money. And I knew this wasn't true. I was kind of upset that he was now turning on his own family in this way, because I knew you were trying to help him. But at the same time, I felt I was torn between you and him and all this different information, and I just was like, I don't want to do anything to do with either of you. Both of you go.
And it wasn't your problem.
Yeah, and even if I was friends with you on Facebook, he could see who you were friends with through who I was friends with through your profile or things like that, and it can be guilty by association.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, I get it. 100%. How, you're sort of, his obsession with you is sort of the catalyst for our understanding that he was ill. And it certainly can be interpreted that you're responsible for that, which of course you know that I don't feel that.
Right.
But how responsible do you feel about the situation that Dwayne ended up in? From who you were as a New Age guide, leader, I don't know how you want to define yourself.
Oh, that's fine. Whatever. I felt responsible. I thought this is also one of the reasons why I became a spiritual speaker, is I could be responsible. I could, for other people and look after them. And so responsibility has always been a big theme of my life. Even I feel responsible for my family. And so I feel like I've really adopted a lot of unnecessary responsibility. And this is something I'm still working on. And when it comes to Dwayne, I do feel responsible. I try to imagine what it would be like if it wasn't me, but another spiritual speaker he could have latched onto, or but there really wasn't that much at the time. But I hold on to this responsibility as well, because it keeps me reminded of how dangerous such beliefs like this can be. It keeps me sober and determined to have people understand this, how serious of a matter this is. I'm not necessarily blaming myself or having a hard time. It's just really, really thinking about it and just really trying to reflect and understand myself how such things happen and if it could have been prevented. And
then, when it comes to, I want you to think, I know there's a lot of factors that have contributed to where you are now.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you think, what is Dwayne's role in having you take literally a 180-degree turn away from spirituality? How did Dwayne affect those decisions of leaving it?
I would say Dwayne was quite a big part, because he was more early on, right while it was happening. He was that sliver of doubt, that sliver of frustration of having to deal with something like this. You have like these drawbacks with having to do something go with anything, but in this case it was like a screaming. It wasn't like, oh, this is just one side down thing. It's much more stronger. It's like, geez, sorry.
Can we?
I lost it.
Yeah, that's okay. Would it be helpful for you to say something like, Dwayne was a very big part of my turning away from spirituality?
Yes, okay, I can say that. Dwayne was a very big part in helping me turn away from my spirituality. He helped me to realize, again, like I said before, how dangerous and how serious of a matter this is, that you can't just play with people's minds like this or make them think that you have these abilities, because you don't consider how another person is going to interpret it. You don't consider what they're going to do with that information. And a lot of people turned on me, were really upset when I started to speak out about this as well. They really didn't want to see it. They didn't like that I was blaming spirituality, and it wasn't necessarily blaming spirituality, but our relationship to it, like how we all interpret it in a different way, and we need to all be responsible for this because it's like a gamble with our mind. We're gambling with our mind when we're going into beliefs like this, and we're considering it and making it an authority in our life to think for us and take over our mind.
You know, Jessica, as you were describing it, it reminds me of, you know, the Wizard of Oz, right? Of you know, people wanted to believe in the power of Oz, and you know, what it really is a little man behind the curtain.
That's exactly what it is. It's our little insecurity behind the curtain trying to make things a smoke and mirror show with, you know, magic and effects and all of that. That's such a good metaphor. It is exactly like the Wizard of Oz. People wanting to believe it and so sure of it.
Well, I have to tell you, I think this is your best interview yet.
Oh, really? I was wondering. I was thinking maybe the other one was better.
No, I think that between the two, I think that, you know, the other ones will give us the ability to cut back and forth and have, you know, essentially inserts to do. But, you know, this was, you know, and I'm, in some ways, I mean, it's such a gift to have the opportunity to, like, keep doing it and keep doing it until, you know, it gets, you know, most people, when you re-interview them, it's never as good as the first one, and you have just kept getting better and better.
Really? Well, thank you. I didn't think that at all, so that's good to know. Again, different perspectives, so.
But you know, but also too, I mean, just think about how much more you remember than that first interview that we have, you know, how you've been thinking about it and how you've, like, made the connections, you know, that I think that, you know, is something I want you to think about in terms of for your film that you do about yourself is that, you know, that, and that's what I spent all day with my editor yesterday is like, okay, this is what happened. What are the connections? Oh yeah, that happened too. That relates to this. You know, and so that idea of going over and over and over it again and again. And the thing that's such a gift for me is that I don't normally get that kind of an opportunity with my subject matters. And so, thank you.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you too, because I think that's what we should have done in the beginning as well, before we do an interview is, well, now that it's done, but you can tell me everything on your end, because little things you say that might not mean much to you or be a question mark to you, I immediately know what that's about, and then it brings back a bunch of other things, which is helpful too, because I'm annoyed with my memory. I want to remember, and I'm so concerned to say, I remember exactly, like, wait, do I? Is that exactly how it went? So I'm trying, I really want to be accurate, as best as I can.
But also, I do think that memory, you know, a lot of times, particularly in traumatic incidences, I mean, when you put it in the context of what was going on with your family, you know, and that you have all of these other things going on as well as Dwayne,
yeah.
I mean, it really makes me understand, oh, okay, there's, you know, it's almost like, well, I've never had a child, but I'm sure that it's like labor. You forget the pain, right? All you have is this child that you end up with, but you forget the pain of it, and I think that memory works very similarly.
I think that's a very interesting theory that could very likely be part of it as well. However, sometimes when it's not trauma, when we're not going through trauma, we still have a funny memory with things. It could be a really great day, the best day ever, but you don't remember it exactly as well, or you focus on one bad thing and then it can, like, completely, you can interpret the whole day as terrible because of that one bad thing.
Yes. I had my best friend visiting me she lives in LA, and she had gotten married at the little chapel on the Columbia University campus, and so we went there just to visit it, just to see it, and she was saying to me, she's like, it was such a great day. I remember so little of it, all the details.
Yeah. I think that there's an Einstein quote too, where he's like, it says, measure how quickly time goes by, and how much you remember when you're sitting on the couch with your sweetheart. And because so when you're doing something you enjoy, you don't remember much, and time goes by very, very quickly. But now think about how much time goes by when you're, touching a hot stove. And how much you remember. It's like time slows down, it takes forever, or doing a job you hate, and you remember all the boring, monotonous little detail as well, or the detail of the pain, and so I find that interesting how time kind of plays these tricks on us as well, interpretation of time, or how we interpret it. The other thing about my change I wanted to say, but what Dwayne also brought to help me realize about the change was my change, or Okay. What Dwayne helped with me with realizing about that something wasn't right with these spiritual beliefs was this. You keep telling yourself that you're doing good, that you're helping, that you're changing the world, but he was the sliver of doubt that maybe not. Maybe it's not as good as I think it is. Maybe there actually is a lot more harm that I can't see or that I'm blinded by all this consensus and confirmation. That perhaps it's actually doing a lot more harm than good. And I should not ignore that, like let it cancel out for, for example, because there's a lot of good, we should forget about the bad. We should consider that as well, because it can be very subtle at first, but then the ramifications later on down the line, as we see with Dwayne, for example, how it accelerated could be a lot worse. So it's not something we should ignore. We tend to do this, all of us do this, is constant bias that we have in that way. And we need to see how erroneous that is, because it's like, a little bit of poison in a glass can't harm me because most of it's juice or water, so I'm fine. And no, you will be affected by it. And so Dwayne helped me to realize that maybe this spiritual thing is not what I think it is. Maybe it is a big illusion, a bubble, yet again another matrix that I need to wake up out of. Maybe it is a sort of a drug that you just tell people that just to focus on the positive and that everything will work out, and what they want to have happen is just creating a drug for them. So these sort of things, like, whoa, what's that weird noise? It's on your end. I don't hear you at all. Hang on a second, weird glitch. Nope. No, I don't hear you. I hear a weird. You hear me, obviously.
I hear you.
Okay, I hear you now.
All right.
What was that? Yeah.
Jessica?
Yeah?
It might have been somebody at my door. So let me just go and check my door,
Yeah,
okay?
of course, no problem.
Jessica?
Yeah?
This is Elijah. He's been doing a lot of the scanning and stuff for the documentary, so he's just coming to watch and stuff.
Hi, Elijah.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Jessica's in Lisbon,
Sure.
and she my brother had an obsession with her and sort of stalked her.
Really? I saw some of the email correspondence.
Right, the email correspondence, yeah. So, anyway, so she's filling in a huge part of, and actually I think we're done, Jessica.
I think so too, yeah. I got to say.
But you know, and so listen, let's talk about how can I get the chip from you? I don't want you paying for anything.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the video up on YouTube as a private video that only you can see. I'll send it to you, and then from there you need to download it. The other thing we can do, which is going to be more work, is if you have a Dropbox or a kind of thing like that. It takes forever to download in that way.
But can you put it up as the highest quality possible, and even if you have to put it in 10-minute segments?
Oh, I don't have to. I can put up as long as I want. I have that privilege on YouTube to have as long as I want, so that's not a problem. I'll let you edit it. I'll just put it up as is. I won't take out anything. So.
Anything, everything that you said is just like, it's kind of wonderful. So I don't think that there's really anything that you should even feel ashamed of. But, and the thing is that, and I will certainly do the same. And the other thing I want to send you is I want to send you our 12-minute sample reel. Because I think that will give you, and remember, think of it like a trailer. Think of it like we just introduced you only through Project Camelot and be like, and then I found out my brother was obsessed with this woman from the internet. But that's just for the trailer.
Okay.
And so I want you to be aware of it, but I just to give you a real sense of where we're going with it, the style of it, and I
video you did last time. Can you do the same thing? Can you put it up on YouTube as a private video? And are you okay if I make these videos public, or do you want me to wait until after your documentary? Because I was just thinking of putting them up as is, because there's so much. I'm going to put up everything basically. You're only having bits and pieces, but I don't know, like, as far as if you want this an exclusive thing or so.
If you know what, if we can wait until after the film is done, that would be great.
Okay, and when is that about?
Well, we're trying to have the cut for the Sundance deadline, which is at the end of August.
Okay.
You know, let me talk with you know, let me talk with the editor and the producer about that, about how we can do that. I totally, you see, because part of my problem is, but part of what is the problem is that for Sundance has to be what's called a world premiere, and so that means that a certain part of the film cannot be published. I mean, putting it up privately and having people go to it is a completely different thing than putting it up for public consumption.
I see what you mean. Okay, no, then that's fine. I can wait until afterwards. I wasn't sure, so I thought I'd ask anyway. But I just thought.
Sundance Film Festival. If we get it, the Sundance Film Festival happens in January.
Okay.
You know, so we're not looking. That's sort of another time. But yeah, I can certainly see why you'd want it. I totally get that.
Yeah, I think it would be interesting to have it all together, and I don't know, try to piece them in as well the best I can to like make it fit sequentially. And yeah, it's just, I haven't done a video with just me in a while. Usually it's just me and Diego and we're talking about the project, and I think it's interesting to have this sort of backstory as well for people to have another perspective as to why I changed. And that people see me as mean now because of my change. I'm a terrible person because I changed, and I betrayed people, I lied to people. It's how they see it, and they don't realize that spirituality is like, now I'm a drug rehabilitator. Like, spirituality is a drug and I'm a rehabilitator, and no one likes the drug rehabilitator. You're not giving me my drugs. You're not giving me the videos I want. You're not telling me what I want to hear. How dare you? You're blaming my precious spirituality, my drug. No, it's innocent. So.
But yeah, and one of the things you might want to think about too is that you might want to use this stuff for your story, your video, and not want to put it up there so that you can really sort of craft it in the way that you want it for your video.
I might do that too, but I think the filming I'm going to do is something totally different for my documentary, and I want to actually use the videos that I did at the time. Back in the day, it was nostalgic. I'm kind of dreading watching my old videos. I can't stand watching myself, because you look like, I should have said this, and what's my face doing? So I'm gonna have to watch those and put bits and pieces of it in. But I think I will actually have it on camera, in person filming this, and also because my documentary is not just this part of my life. There's so many other things that I want to go into, and also do film reenactments. So it'll be different. So your documentary is your thing. I like that there are three different entities basically.
Are you going to do a reenactment of the roof blowing off your house?
Yeah, special effects for that one. I'm not sure yet. I have to think about because you only get like an hour and a half, right? So I have to like think about what's essential to put in. What do I want to say? What I'll have to leave out, and how to make it fit in a sequential story.
Sure. All right, well, listen, I'm going to let you go. This is tons of your 2.5 hours of your time, so thank you so much.
It's fine. It's a pleasure. I enjoy it, and it's helpful. It's therapeutic.
That we have a Skype that has no video attached to it, just a conversation.
Absolutely, I would like that too. I want to be kept posted on how things are going, and if I can help in any other way, and hopefully we'll get to meet in New York sometime soon as well. So.
And, you're always welcome. I'll be delighted.
Okay, and I can send you the dossier treatment. You will be able to read it. It's like 30 pages. I know you're really busy, so.
Send it, Jessica. Send it.
Okay, I will. All right, thank you. Take care. Bye.
Get it. Bye.